I started off this brand new year in a very unusual way. Do you know what happened? I was in the hospital. Woke up at 1 a.m, just after midnight, my lip all swollen, a little red dot there. And I said, oh, brother, I looked all over. I went down to the hospital and see if there was anything poisonous bit me or something. So,
well, Kent, of course, you could always go for your vitamin guy, Bill Sadi. He's the one you push to cure just about anything, or maybe those apricot stuff that you were trying to flog a few years ago. I think it was Sadi.
Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. It is January 1st, starting a brand new year, 2025. We're glad you joined us.
Yes, and it's Claude Bowles here, going to have a bit of a discussion on many of the things that Hovind says in this nonsense-filled video. Normally, I just type comments, but I think there's far too much to say here. So we're just going to go through it, and I'll comment where appropriate.
For the folks who believe the Bible is true and evolution is the dumbest and most dangerous religion in the history of the world. I started off this brand new year in a very unusual way. Do you know what happened? I was in the hospital. Woke up at 1 a.m, just after midnight, my lip all swollen, a little red dot there. And I said, oh, brother, I looked all over. I went down to the hospital and see if there was anything poisonous bit me or something. So 4 o'clock, they finally came back and said, no, you're fine. Finally go to bed. So it's been a rough New Year's Day.
Yes, well, normally you don't like the idea of people going to hospital, Kent, but I guess when it's you and your life's at risk, then of course you do go and rely on normal medicine from real doctors who've qualified at accredited medical institutions. Normally you tell people to get vitamins because probably you get a bit of a cut on the sales of those things. You have been known to promote the seeds of a certain fruit. And of course, then there was your vitamin guy, Bill Sadi, who was also a trustee. And of course, he succumbed and died to a certain prominent respiratory illness, shall we say. And you didn't even mention it. Didn't even mention it until you were forced to, did you?
No, still don't know what happened. But they said I'm probably going to live till I die. So that's good. So all you atheists, sorry, didn't die for you last night.
You know, it is funny that for a guy so keen to meet the Lord, basically so he can tell tales on the rest of us. Oh, I tried to save them. I told them. He's not very keen to go to heaven. I suspect he's not as confident in the afterlife that he promotes. I suspect he's probably quite frightened of that prospect.
Anyway, Whack an Atheist. We are here January 1st, 2025. I never thought I'd make it this far. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Well, if that's true, that means God owns it, and he makes the rules. And some people don't like his rules, so they deny he did it.
Well, he might have done it on behalf of someone else. I mean, some other God might have paid him to do it. And then, of course, he doesn't actually own it. I mean, it's just a nonsense. The idea that people own people also, or the idea that a God owns people, is a horrible idea. You might want to be owned, Kent, but I'm certainly not going to follow that particular shtick.
You atheists, it's for all of you tonight. I want you to listen carefully. God created this world. This might be your last year on this planet. You might want to stop and really think about that. If you died today, where would you go? The Bible says, poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction. Some people just refuse to listen. Nobody can tell them what to do. They refuse.
I think he should be looking in a mirror as he goes through this. Nobody can tell Kent what to do. In fact, he says it time and time again. He's the boss. Nobody's going to tell me what to do on Dinosaur Adventureland. And I've got this sort of a trust that I have, or a board. But really, I tell them what to do. That's the truth of the matter.
Refuse to listen. He that regardeth reproof shall be honored. If somebody reproves you and scolds you and says that's wrong, you should stop and think about it. And maybe they're right. You should correct something in your vocabulary or in your lifestyle or in something.
Yes, a pity you didn't take any notice of that yourself, Kent. It's always everybody else's fault. 4 marriages, 3 that failed so far, and it's always been their fault, hasn't it, Kent? Always their fault, never your fault. All your legal troubles, always someone else's fault, never your fault. All the people that leave Dinosaur Adventureland after finding out that it isn't exactly what it is cracked up to be, it's always their fault. Huh. And then you're telling people to take notice of that.
Then it says, the desire accomplished is sweet to the soul. You know why some of you had a bad year last year? You're not accomplishing anything. When you accomplish something, you can step back and say, wow, look, I built that. There's just something, a sense of accomplishment.
This sounds awfully like a bit of a contradiction, because he's telling people and he's pouring scorn on people who say, look, God, look what I built for you. You know, I mean, he says that's not right. And yet here he's telling you, you know, look and see what you have built. Yeah, sounds like a works-based program to me.
There's no sweetness in some of your souls because you don't accomplish anything.
Oh.
Sit and play video games for hours and hours and hours. When you're all done, then what?
Hovind can't stand anybody playing video games, but he's pretty keen on running around all day in four-wheelers or side-by-sides, or in fact, now Jeeps. That's all right. That's his recreation, supposedly winning souls for the Lord. I don't quite know how that works. But he doesn't like anybody playing video games. He's not too keen on sports either.
Where do all those video characters go? Do they go hide someplace? You get point. You get money for them. In the book of Nehemiah, they built the wall. It says, "So built we the wall, and the wall was joined together into the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work." Well, what's your mind set on? Some people's whole mindset is on not working. If they see somebody working, they sneak around and go the other way. We don't want to help. Don't want to work. What are you doing with your life? What eternal things have you produced in your life? Produce is when a farmer plants the seeds, the ground produces fruit, and then he sells it. There are produce stores, okay? What do people buy? I tell the people here at the ministry here, what are you producing of any value? Everybody should produce
Yes,
something.
I could well ask that question. I think working for Kent's ministry and volunteering for it, they're not producing F all, are they? You know, let's be honest. It's just a lot of bollocks.
How many books have you written in your life?
Well, and if you have written a book, are they worthless? You know, are they rubbish books? Are they books that you scrolled down based on other people's ideas?
Videos have you made to help other people? What have you produced? Or are you helping somebody else produce? That's just as important. You may not own the ground, own the seeds, but you can help the farmer plant the seeds. You don't have to own it and produce it yourself, but you can help somebody else.
This is all about Kent, making Kent look good. And he must have some trouble with some of his volunteers, and it's sending a message to them. This is the sort of Kent's modus operandi. If he suddenly starts talking about this, next thing, in another show, you'll probably go on to, have a 2-minute hot shower, and how, ignoring the fact that he has a permanent hot tub. But he'll be telling his volunteers after they've worked there all day, just have a quick shower because I'm paying your electric bill. What he forgets is that, of course, that they're giving him virtually free labor.
You're producing something, or you're helping somebody else who's producing something, or you're not going to have that sweetness in your soul. When you can say, man, I was part of the team and we helped, we got that done. What are you producing? Think about it. What eternal things have you produced in your life? As I look back on my life 56 years ago, coming up, February 9th is when I gave my heart to the Lord, 1969.
Oh, you martyr. And of course, we're never going to hear the end of that. When he gave his heart to the Lord. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he's such a goody.
What have I produced with my life? I saw
nothing, actually, nothing of any value, nothing you've produced. It all follows the same pattern as your worthless doctorate degree, which everybody knows is just fraudulent.
Often said, if I had it to do over again, I would. I'd do pretty much the same thing. You'd get people saved, try to win people to the Lord. Produced all kinds of video series. My special messages has one in here called how to make money and spend it God's way, where I cover the 4 different kinds of workers and the 4 different places you can spend your money, your time, your energy.
And of course, the most important is giving it to people like Kent so they can blow it. You know, one minute he's wanting side by sides and 4x4s, then he gets tired of those, sells them off, and wants to buy Jeeps. Never satisfied.
Produce lots of videos. They're all up on our website, drdino.com. What have you produced? What did you produce last year in 2024? Stop and think. It's the first of the year now. Let's be honest. What did you produce last year? 10,000 hours of video games and watching a bunch of grown men in tight pants fight over a ball? Mm-hmm.
Yes, told you. The videos and sports. Hates that. Hates anything that competes with his own sort of preconceived idea of what people should be doing, or the fact that they should be giving him money and donations.
You did? What did you make? What are your plans for producing something in 2025? Do you have any plans? What do you want to do? I've always tried to make it a goal. I want to learn more of the several languages I've been trying to study. It's kind of a strong word. Russian, Spanish, French, German. I took 1 year in French in high school. It took me further than I took it. But I'm not too old. I'll be 72 in a couple of days. I want to learn another language this year.
Yeah, well, that would be quite good, but you could probably learn English first. I mean, if anybody has read your dissertation or thesis, whatever it's called for your doctorate, so your first one, it's just the most awful, error-ridden piece of rubbish you could possibly imagine. You know, poor grammar, poor spelling, everything, you name it. So before you go on to other languages, polish it up. But you know what I'm going to challenge you to do, Kent, is to pick one of those languages, tell us which it is, and we'll arrange for an independent test at the end of this coming year and see how well you've done.
What are you producing? Can you play a musical instrument? Maybe you ought to make that your goal.
Yeah, well, yeah. You could be like Kent. Didn't you claim to have taught music to hundreds of prisoners while you were there? And then, of course, you go on and sing one of your awful, awful songs where you're flat as a pancake and screwing the timing up. Yeah, I'm sure you've done well with your music, Kent.
Do something you could use. If you played a musical instrument, you could play in church or do songs. You could produce songs that would help people. What have you produced? Are you helping someone else produce something? I just think about it as a goal for this next year. There are 4 places you can spend your time, your energy, and your money. You can spend your time, energy, and money on things that last a few minutes. Food. You can. How many of you could spend $50 on one meal, going out to get a T-bone steak and everything else? You could spend $50 on one meal, couldn't you? What do you have 6 hours later? Nothing. It lasted a few hours. Could you also make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and drink a glass of milk, and your meal might cost you maybe, $1?
Yes, you could, you hypocrite, Kent. But of course, you're always begging for people to pay for your crew to go into one of your local towns and have what's either Chinese or ribs or something like that. You don't have a problem spending money there because it's something that you want to do. But if anybody else, they want to go to a restaurant, oh no, they should have a peanut butter sandwich. It only costs $1. Come on, Kent. Hypocrisy is rich in this one.
And 6 hours later, you're still hungry again. What do you spend all your time, energy, and money on things that are just going to last a few minutes? What's it cost to go see the stupid bowl? Anybody know? Or Super Bowl? To buy one ticket to get in, to buy your $20 hot dog and your $30 Coke, you could spend $1,000 on one game, couldn't you? Okay? What do you have the next day? Nothing. Memory. Is that where you spend your time, energy, and money on things that just last a few minutes? You're going to be real disappointed Judgment Day. God's going to say, look, I gave you these talents. You could have produced this, but instead, you wasted it.
Kent presuming to speak for God, and he says he isn't leading a cult. He's just told you what God's going to tell you on Judgment Day. He's probably been leaning to God's ear, trying to tell on you for different things, like the little infantile person he is. Oh,
You can spend your time, energy, and money on things that last a few years. Clothes, car, furniture. How many of you ever bought a car, drove it for a certain length of time, and sold it and lost money? You sold it for less than you paid for it.
well, that's the story of Kent's life with the various machinery and stuff and cars he was trying to sell not so long ago around DAL. A bit of a difference is that much of that stuff got paid for by foolish people's donations. Good people, but foolishly, who donated to Kent, only to have him sell the stuff off in a short time, no doubt at a loss.
Like every time, right? Clothes. If you spent, what's it cost to go buy a brand new outfit, brother? Somebody bought all my Hawaiian shirts for $quarter a piece. I got 50 of them, so I just rotate them throughout the year. What's a nice shirt, nice pair of pants, pair of shoes? What's that cost, or a good set? Can you? 30. Goodwill, okay. Over $200. So let's say you spend $200 on clothes. You wear that outfit for 4 or 5 times. Then I want you to sell it. What can you sell it for? Yeah, $10 in a yard sale, garage sale, right? Clothes are just simply not a good investment. Car's not a good investment. You got to have one, but man, you don't have to spend $100,000 or $200,000. Furniture, not a good investment. You got to have some, but what are you spending your time, your energy, and your money on?
Do you really need that spa pool, Kent, as part of your furnishings, or that hot tub, whatever it's called? Do you really need that? Oh, yes, you do, of course, because you're special.
Things that last a few years, or maybe things that last a lifetime. Education. I was at the hospital last night. A doctor came to see me from Nigeria. He probably had to spend a bunch of money to get his doctor's degree. Some of you, you could go spend $50,000 going to college.
Why spend that much when you can go to one of your diploma mill universities, Patriot Bible University, the one that you attended, Kent, where you choose, you pay X amount for your bachelor's, master's, and you send in any, or doctorate in your case, you send in any old rubbish. It's approved by I think it's the Knight family that own that business. The thing has no accreditation at all. It's not even worth the paper that it's printed on, but you didn't want to do the hard yards. And you can say all you like that you worked hard. And if you did, it's only because you're sort of a bit challenged in that area, you're not too bright. But I don't believe that you, in fact, worked hard. You knew that. You knew that in order to suck in a few more followers, if you were only called doctor, everybody would think, oh, Dr. Hovind, somehow great scientist perhaps. But no, you've got no science or math qualifications at all. So I can only imagine the very, very low standard of high school that you supposedly taught in. It certainly wouldn't have been one that held its head up high as far as educational standards go, Kent.
Learn what you need to earn a degree, and now that lasts you the rest of your life. A degree is a lifetime thing.
Well, it is for you. Yes, it's got you on the gravy train for a long time. But as I say, your degree is worthless, and you know it, Kent. And so should your followers.
Or a skill. If you went to school to learn to be a mechanic or a carpenter or something like that, and you've now got a skill that'll last you a lifetime. Anything for your education is usually a much better investment. Are you investing in that at all? Friends can last a lifetime. A house. Some of you have rented a house for years. You're making somebody else a lot of money. That's all you're doing. Why don't you build your own? I was thinking about renting a house when I first got married back in 1974. And my dad said, well, son, why don't you build one? Build one? He said, yeah. I said, I'll give you the lot if you'll build the house on it. Groveland, Illinois. Okay. And I built that house. Took 2 months. Time we broke ground till we moved in. I like to go fast and build. But a house can be a good investment. See, if you buy a house and fix it up, you might even make money. Probably aren't going to lose much money. But if you rent a house, you're going to lose every month.
And of course, if you come to work for me or volunteer at DL, you could sell your house and you could give your money to Kent. And of course, if you wife number three, you sold your houses, and Kent got $100,000 or $200,000 out of that. He wasn't satisfied. He wanted the rest, and then he called her greedy when she wanted some of that back. Oh, the irony and hypocrisy is just wonderful.
Every month. Tools. You can buy tools that'll last you a lifetime. Okay? Those are lifetime investments, but there's one more. You can spend your time, energy, and money on things that last forever. And that's where, as a young Christian a long time ago, I said, Lord, I want to invest in your kingdom. I want to seek first the kingdom of God and your righteousness, and all these things will be added. Boy, has that been true. Neil, how much stuff do we have here as far as in the shop and the tools and everything we need? And
all kinds of cool stuff I'd like to get.
we have, God just provides. We need something, somebody drives up in the driveway and they've got it. Here, Brother Hovind, I heard you need something like this. Okay.
No. You need something. You go on one of your shows and you're begging for money, begging for donations. Pay this for that. Buy my lunch. Buy, pay for a new Jeep. Help run the food. It's constant, Kent. The real test would be if you said nothing and these things happen. But no, you're begging all the time. Grifting, they call it.
You seek first the kingdom. I was going to play this video tonight, Dr. Craig videos. I'm very impressed with what I've heard from him so far.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite good, because he's a creationist, which was a degree, but he definitely knows the earth is old, not 6,000 years. He definitely agrees that the earth is billions of years old. So I guess we've got to give him that compared to Kent. And I'm not sure what his doctorate is in either. It could be a real one, unlike Kent's.
Had one called Reason for Faith or something like that. I forget his website. Google Dr. William Lane Craig. Watch that video on your own. I just want to challenge you this brand new year. Do something for God. He starts off using just philosophy. Say, look, if something exists, it had to have a beginning. Okay? The universe exists. It had a beginning. Well, what was before that? You atheists don't know. You don't even have a good theory. If time is eternal, then you could never reach where we are today, because you'd have to keep going back, infinite regress. Time had a beginning. Space had a beginning. Matter had a beginning. My Bible answers that in 10 words. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Just like that.
Your Bible doesn't answer it with any evidence, Kent. And of course, we don't know exactly how, everything began, but scientists are working on it, not just based on a book that they read, written by what is it? That guy said, Middle Eastern goat herders. No, serious scientists are trying to answer those questions. They don't know the answer yet. They have some ideas, but you've just read that in your book. God dang done it.
I've chosen to believe that. Have you? January 1st, why don't you make it a goal today? Say, during this year, I'm going to produce something for the Lord. Some of you could produce some videos. I did a series of videos on, let's see, I got too many things on my desk here. This is proof the earth is millions of years old for you atheists here now. Okay. Let's see. A Genesis Bible study. Went through the whole book of Genesis. You can get that on our website. All the videos, spent hours and hours and hours studying and producing a video. And you could, maybe you like to study something you could produce a video series on. They did one on, let's see, creation that destroys evolution, different kinds of animals and plants and things. There's no way this evolved. Aardvarks, the appendix, the amethyst, bacteria, beryllium, butterflies, broccoli, carbon, bears, backbones, went through the alphabet, celery. Let's see, seahorses, God's amazing seahorses. Produce something with your life.
That was basically one of the most repetitive series I've ever done. Read a few facts about each one from Wikipedia and said, there we are. That shows God done it. I think the beaver was one of the things that was quite amusing, that one.
I hate to see some of you that have such great talents in the middle of a war like what's going on, doing nothing. Look, there's a war going on. Here, if you're not going to shoot, pay for the bullets, take care of the wounded, do something. 2025 might be the last year we've got. We'll see. Don't know. If it's not, I'm going to do the same thing in 2026. Just keep plowing ahead, trying to produce something for the Lord. When I was put in prison for 9 years unjustly, okay, Lord, what do? I'm here.
Yeah, unjustly, my ass. He's structured for the purposes of evading taxes. He also didn't withhold payroll taxes. The guy doesn't pay. He boasted about that for a while, how he hadn't filed tax returns, and it eventually caught up with him. And then he now lies to this day about the trial and what the judge supposedly said, which he didn't say. It was in fact his son Eric who made claims about his crime being worse than a certain reprehensible activity, but he lies about it to this day. I'm happy to debate him on that whole topic. It's an area of expertise that I have, but I think so far he's been chewed chicken.
Well, half the Bible's written from prison. So I led 800 men to the Lord, wrote 37 books while I was in prison.
800 men to the Lord. And what are they doing now? I mean, I just find that so hard to believe. It's probably a pain in the neck to those guys. He certainly didn't teach them music, judging by his own lack of talent in that area. The man is a narcissist. That's plain and simple. And the unfortunate thing is that he's sucked so many good people in. But I'm telling those good people, it's not too late to change. It's not too late to realize the truth about your leader, Kent Hovind.
Led 4 times a day Bible studies in my cell. I made my world famous bookmarker. 8,000 of them, sent them out with letters and stuff like that. And earned 2 more doctor's degrees. Do something with
Yeah, got 2 more doctor's degrees. The man has got 4 doctor's degrees. I mean, that's way in excess of any, the most brilliant scientists of all time. And that the reason is that these are worthless doctor's degrees. They're diplomal degrees. And even then, Kent will say, I earned 3 and got an honorary one. Well, the way I put it is that he bought 3, got 1 free. What a deal.
With your life. I hate to see people with such talents wasted on the dumbest things. I was hoping to get to play this. We can't figure out the audio, how to make the thing work here. So you watch that on your own. Dr. William Lane Craig. Great.
So they can't figure out the audio. And only before Christmas, in one of his latest grifts and begging for money, he was looking for people to donate money to pay bonuses to his staff, including, no doubt, the tech staff. It's just you can't make this stuff up. It is just so ludicrous.
Great videos he produces. Okay, any questions or comments there, brother?
We got a few comments I'll bring up.
Okay. Yeah, this bottom layer is 28 million years old, and this one's 14 million. That one's so stupid.
Here's one, Doc.
Someone on YouTube called Chris. Yeah, I've heard of this guy. I take an obsession with you.
He must be an atheist. Huh?
Oh, yeah, he's an atheist. A lot of people doing that. Uploading video on his channel, commenting on all your posts. I think it's time to whack him. I think I did whack him a couple times. Nobody would watch him if he didn't mention my name. So I'll be glad to debate him. Tell him, call 855 Big Dino. What are you extension for?
Yep.
Okay. Schedule a debate anytime. Take him on. Okay. Thank you. Store up treasures in heaven. Amen. God bless you, Iron Man. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, no questions tonight.
All right. Well, good. Well, tomorrow night, Thursday and Friday, we're going to have open mic, let anybody call in anything you got. So we'll start off the year right, stir up trouble.
Yes, open mic provided people don't raise topics that are the inconvenient truth, which Kent gets a bit upset about, including his doctorate, which he says he really doesn't care about, but it's obvious he does. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed listening to my commentary. Feel free to make sensible comments below this, if you have anything to add, and otherwise, enjoy life, because you only get one chance at it. Thank you.